No, like show me the piece that came out.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
You can gently put the worm into what's in there, and
That's
then
what-
just pull it out.
Every time I try to do it, it like slides in there farther.
Yeah, I was gonna say like just because of how much came out, it could be tough. It's not the end of the world to push it in there.
I know it won't kill me.
No, but if you can, yeah, I was gonna say if you can do what Stefan said, there's a possibility to be able to.
You just don't even push down on the cork. Just rest it on there, and it'll act as an auger and go right into the cork.
It's too far down.
Oh, is it?
It looks too far down.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. Slow it out. Oh.
Virtual wine opening.
Oh, this is awesome.
I'd say at this point, just boop, and be done.
Yeah. Now just pull.
Yeah. I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
There it goes.
Hey.
Yay.
Little cork never hurt anyone.
I'll be right back.
Exactly. It probably, depending on how broken it was, it probably won't even get in the wine, but you might want to check.
The Facebook thing's not working it hasn't worked the past few times. Oh, well.
Now that I can actually get the wine out. Okay.
Well, this can be a strategy session because we don't have any customers.
But we are recording it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
we do
right.
strategy. We do that.
Fail is
that.
being recorded.
Well, for everyone who's watching this after it's live, I do have 2 guests joining us on the upcoming 2 calls. And those are the only wines I've picked so far, and I apologize. It's tough to line people up in advance, especially because we have such a set time that we do this at that it doesn't work for everybody. So I'm working on the following weeks, but on Wednesday we have a gentleman, let's see, let me see if I can remember his name. Leo Cardoza from Southern Stars Imports. He's our rep with Southern Stars. I think he lives in Montana. I could be wrong. But he's going to join us for the Nugan Stompers Cabernet, which is a family-run estate in southeastern Australia, and that's a Cabernet Sauvignon. It's awesome. It's $15, $15.49 at the liquor store before discounts. Order online, you get 20% off. Makes it much cheaper. Hello, Jay.
Well,
Can you see us tonight? Not yet. All right, I'm just going to keep going so there's no interruption. Friday, we have Bruno Tate, who is a guy I've never met before, but I've known his wines since I was 16 years old working at a wine shop in North Carolina. And I'm very excited for that. And he is going to give us a virtual tour of his winery via Zoom call on his phone on Friday. So that's going to be awesome. I have 3 wines from him. All 3 are mapped to our page. 2 of them are $20.49, and they are Shirazes of different locations. One's a McLaren Vale, and one is a Barossa Valley. The Barossa Valley is called the Ball Buster, and the McLaren Vale is called the Border Crossing, and he calls it that because that's not his name spot. We also have his basket press Shiraz, which goes for about $50, and so he's happy to talk about all 3 of the wines, but you can grab whatever you want and join us. So that's what's coming up.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what are we enjoying tonight, man?
Tonight we are going with a new wine to the liquor store as of last November. I got this through Kermit Lynch when we were getting the Beaujolais Nouveau out of California.
Yeah.
And this is a wine from Sardinia, which is an island that is part of Italy. It is off Italy's western coast. Yeah, I have to think about that for a second. Western coast. So just looking at the wine itself, so it has 2 family names at the top. And the first is Deperu, and that's Carlo Deperu. He is the winemaker. And then the second name is Holler, or maybe Oler. I don't know, I'm bad at pronunciations. And that's his wife, Tatiana. They met in Milan. That's where he was studying to become a winemaker. And they moved back to his family's estate, homestead, and this wine comes from there. So Sardinia is a big island. It's about 175 miles long, kind of runs north to south more than it does east to west. And it's an ancient, it's been inhabited for, super long time. And if you look at the government classification of this wine, and flip around to the back, it's called Isola de Nuraghi. And I read that and I was like, I don't know what that means. I know what Isola means. That means island. And de means of. But I had to look up the term. And the term Nuraghi, and I might be saying it wrong, and I'm sorry if I am, refers to these fortifications that appear all over Sardinia. So Sardinia, this is we're talking 2,000 years BC, was an important Mediterranean fortified island. And so the Nuraghis are these castle type structures. They're I don't know, turrets or parapets, or they're big round stone structures that I think they use to shoot stuff. Probably flaming arrows back then. I don't know. Not much on the history. But that's
fortified wine too, or oh.
They actually do make fortified wines on the island, but no, these guys do not. I was reading about it because, so we'll get into the grapes. This wine is made from Cannonau, and Cannonau is a Sardinian term for the same grape that the French call Grenache. And it's been posited that Grenache may have originated on Sardinia. They don't know. It's really tough because there was a lot of spreading around of varieties before history was kept, or at least really good detailed scientific histories of grapes. And so Grenache in France is what Spain calls Garnacha. It's also been posited that it originated in Spain and was brought around. But this is 70% Cannonau, Grenache, and 30% Muristelu. And Muristelu is, I'm blanking now.
Monastral?
No,
No.
I pulled it up. Let's see. Graciano.
Okay.
So if you've ever had a Spanish wine like a Rioja, they have a lot of Graciano there. They pronounce Graciano. They don't say the C. But also, it's also known as Bovale Grande or Bovale Sardo. And this is the thing about Italy that makes learning about their wines really hard. They have a bunch of different names for the same varieties because they thought at different times in history that the varieties were actually separate, and then DNA testing came along, and now we've learned they're the same. But yeah, so 30% Muristelu and 70% Cannonau. So this is actually very similar to what a Chateauneuf de Pape would be, or Southern Rhone blend from France, but it comes from an Italian island, very Mediterranean. And so, Jay, to answer your question, sorry, that was a long roundabout way of getting back to it. They do make fortified wines from, I believe, Cannonau, and they're called Liquorioso or something like that. I've never had one and I've never seen one, but I was doing some research tonight, and I want to try it because I like dessert wines. They're really fun. But yeah, so Carlo Deperu, he's this guy. He studied in Milan, and he got his winemaking chops up there. And then they've come home, and this is a family operation for them. And he sort of took a new approach, and they don't use any herbicides. They don't use any pesticides. All the farming there is certified organic, and I think it shows in the wines. The wine's really clean and bright, and it's got really good purity of fruit for this style of wine. No oak, which I know is hard to believe because and I don't know. I store the glasses on little oak wooden wine boxes, and so sometimes my glass on the first whiff has a little bit in there, but even still, what do you guys think? mean, it's so tricky. Like the flavors and aromatics that we associate with oak barrel aging can be like hard to detect, or like give a false positive in a big heavy red wine like this.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's the Black
This is
Hand
great.
We have some secret society or something.
No doubt. To me, it reminds me of the Jerry Garcia hand logo because it's very similar. You just missed the part there. But yeah, it is an interesting bottling, and I did notice too, and I thought this was pretty cool. The back labels on some of them, like I don't know, I think Amanda's yours is pretty like that. Like there's a second American label that's slapped over the back of the true Italian label on the back. And I actually really like when I see that, because that means that people in Italy buy and drink this wine, which is cool to me. You know, it's not like some product that's made for, just let's go sell this in the United States. Like this is like a really awesome bottle of wine that has regional character and is sought after in its home market, which I like.
Try it.
What else? What else can I say about this? Sardinia has one DOCG. So Italy has a classification system for ranking wines and for ranking place names that can appear on the label. And Sardinia has one DOCG, and it is where these guys' farm is located, and it's actually for Vermentina, which is a white. And that's it. The rest of the island can make DOC, Cannonau di Sardegna, which we have a few of. And that's actually why I bought this wine, because we have the Sella and Mosca Cannonau, and we've done pretty well with that. It used to be listed with the state, and now it's a special. But yeah, it's a cool thing. Like, who knows? Like, maybe this is like the true expression of Grenache. And Stefan, remember when we did the warehouse tasting with all the Grenaches that one time?
Yeah.
We had that Cannonau on there, and I remember I think people liked it quite a bit. So it's hard to say where it actually came from. I'm definitely no expert, but this is an excellent representation. I like it a lot. What do you guys think?
I think you picked a solid one, man.
Success.
Really good.
Yeah.
Reminds me a lot of Chateauneuf du Pape. Goes great with the cigar. Brings out a lot of the baking spices and the rich red fruits on the wine.
What's the cigar tonight, Daniel?
An Arturo Fuente Cinco Seis.
Cinco Seis, 56. Is it from 1956?
No, it's named after the Domino's.
Domino's Pizza?
Domino's is the game.
Oh.
Classic Cuban game.
Oh, right.
I thought the same thing too, Kev.
Cuban game? Like you play like Mexican Train on? Like Mexican Train?
No, like actual dominoes where you're playing. Basically, you have little checker pieces. Just like on the Domino's logo, you line them up, try and get rid of all your pieces before the other players get rid of theirs.
Yeah.
Nice. I don't think I've ever played dominoes like as a game. I've just like set them up to like.
Yeah.
I play with a
played
bunch
a
of
lot of
Cubans, you end up
Mexican
with bruised hands because they'll slam them down faster than you can blink.
Ow.
Crazy.
That sounds rough.
That's cool. Any other thoughts, anybody? Like, don't like?
I like it. It's a little bitter for my taste, but I also, just a minute ago while I left the camera, I had to strain out pieces of cork out of the wine because it
I
had
wasn't afraid of
cork all inside of it. So I got a nice clean glass.
Oh, there you go.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's good. I think it's really big. I think if you paired it with like lasagna, like the recipe I found, I think it would be amazing. I was sucking on a strawberry dum-dum before I had this. So to me also, Katie, it was a little strong at first, but I think that's because of my food pairing with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to try. This is the only wine I've ever had from this producer, and I'm interested to try some of their other stuff. particularly the DOCG Vermentino, which is a white, but I would like to try that quite a bit. Yeah.
You guys should look up those Sardinian like structures and castles he was talking about. They're nuts. They're very cool.
It says that most of them are from 1800 BC, which is crazy to think about. Like, people were building these massive stone fortifications, like, to protect the Mediterranean, like, passage right there around it.
Well, in Greek mythology and Roman times, they were thought to be built by Daedalus, who built the labyrinth in Crete.
Oh, there you go. Because, yeah, man, I'm so bad at history. But 1800 BC in Italy, that's Roman?
No, that was a while ago.
That was before Roman times even.
Oh, God.
That was when Rome was just a state.
Sorry, 8th grade social studies and histories teachers. I'm not there. Oops, I forgot that part. But yeah, I was looking at some of them. Like, if you go to if you type in the name of the IGT, Indicazione Geografica Tipica, so that's the name of the classification, the Isola de Nuraghi, it pulls up on Wine Searcher's got this great picture, and it looks like, I mean, it's super, like, it doesn't look like what I would expect this area would look like. I mean, the water's like crystal clear blue. It looks like something in the, like, I don't even know, like Central America or something, like an island, like the Bahamas or something like that. It looks awesome. Maybe we should organize a field trip, Amanda.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Hands-on learning.
Yeah, we need to go and check it out. But yeah, Sardinia is this huge island. It's 175 miles long, and these guys are way up at the northern part, which is interesting. Like, I mean, they make a lot of wine there. But yeah, it says here on the Wine Searcher page that there's 7,000 of the towers.
Wow.
There's 7,000 what?
Of the towers that remain.
Wow.
Like, that's a lot.
They were busy.
Yeah, that's and you see in the picture, like, the island looks like it's made out of stone. So I guess that explains where they got all the rocks from. But, there's a UNESCO World Heritage Site since '97. There, Su Nuraghi di Baronini Complex. But yeah, that was one of the things I was reading about. It says on there that the name is confusing, and rightly so. I mean, I read that and it literally means nothing to me. And so a lot of Italians might understand what that means, but they're saying that they want to change the name of the IGT to just IGT Sardinia, which makes a lot more sense for broad market appeal. I mean, I like that it's cool because it made me figure out that little piece of history. Whereas if it was just called Sardinia IGT, I'd probably never know anything about those. But it's interesting to think about, like, how such a small little thing can make an impact in the worldwide market.
There's quite a few good Sardinian wines, aren't there? I think there are.
I agree. I haven't had as many as I'd like. Do you have any that you know of, Jay, that you like?
No, but I've had some with some friends that
Sure.
discovered them and liked them.
Some Cannonau.
Of course, we drank too much of them, so I don't remember much. But
Well, you know, that's how you know they're good, or at least you can remember sort of that you liked it.
they're good going down, not so good the next day. But yeah.
So maybe, like, because of how the land is different too, they use a wild yeast from their land. Do you think that plays like a play in, like, the unique taste that it gives?
Definitely. And like, winemaking is this ancient tradition, especially in places like this, where cultured yeast didn't exist. Like, you couldn't like buy yeasts like that were specific, like the way that you can now. Everything's become so scientific. Like, you can buy certain yeast that will give you certain characteristics in the finished wines, and a lot of people do that. And a lot of people would argue that you lose the regional typicity by using these other yeasts, these cultured yeasts that are grown in laboratories and designed to get alcohol or different flavors, different polyphenol compounds in the finished wine. Like the yeast is very, very important. And there's a new movement. Well, it's not really new, but it's definitely caught a lot more traction lately, where indigenous or wild yeasts are like seen as like this, almost like a sign of like virtuous consumption. Where it's like it's better to have an indigenous yeast, but it's really weird to think about. Like yeasts are super weird. They're like floating around all the time, and they land on the grapes, and they're on the grapes when you crush. And so yeah, I mean it does. It has a big part. And I haven't taken any like winemaking classes, so I can't really speak to like what this area's yeasts are going to do differently than somewhere else. I just know that, yeah, using native yeast is like kind of gives wines like a regional style, more of a local flair.
This is a solid pick. I mean, 2016, this one still has some time that it'll age too.
I agree, especially for a wine with no oak.
It's nice that we had access to something that's 2016, and it's not the 2018 that you really see a lot of right now.
Yeah. I mean, shout outs to Kermit Lynch for going out and finding stuff like this. It's definitely an upgrade over the Cannonau that I've had.
Mellowing out, really. It is mellowing out the more it's open. Yeah.
Does it taste better, Jay, with it breathing?
Yeah, it's a lot less harsh. That's for sure. It's I opened it a while ago. Yeah.
Well, and that kind of goes back to what was it, our last winemaker that was talking about sometimes just oxidization kind of helps bring the natural flavors back and not so much of like a bold flavor, I guess.
Oh yeah. That was what's her name? Yamhill.
Yeah.
I forget her name. I'm sorry if you're watching this. But yeah, she wanted us to get the aerators. I have an aerator at home, and I forgot it. I should have brought it. But I would say this. I opened this at 5 o'clock. When Katie wanted me to run upstairs to grab hers, I grabbed one for me, and I just popped the cork and just let it sit on the table upstairs for 3.5 hours.
I should have just had you open mine when I was there.
I know. I thought about it, but like, you're gonna drive with it.
I've done it before, but
I know you can.
I've never used one of these. This is new.
I'll help you. They're easy.
Okay.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I just don't think I got it in there like far enough because it was only like this much of the cork that got stuck. So
there's such a small piece.
If you haven't ever used them before, they are kind of tricky. But then when somebody shows you how to use them, then you're like, oh, this is lame.
Oh yeah. Oh, like, oh wow, I can't believe I did that.
Oh, Stefan has one.
I'll show you tomorrow. I can go over it. I use them all the time.
We can jam some corks back in and practice.
Yeah, her wine is cork rated.
That's right. Cork rated.
They really are easy once you get used to them.
Yeah.
They just.
I've only opened one other bottle, and it was with this other different plastic one where you took a tube and then you put it in the cork, and then you put the thing in there and you kind of just twist it out. So it was a lot different than this. So
yeah.
You'll get it. You got a good one.
Yes.
You're going to be opening a lot more wine.
Yeah. And I definitely like doing the wine tasting. I haven't tried a lot of wine, so this is good.
Guess what? Practice makes perfect.
Yes, it does.
What better way to learn?
Yeah.
You're young.
Wednesday,
You're
Friday.
young. You have lots of time, probably.
Yeah.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 p.m.
All right. Just as long as I can get the wine before I leave work, because I work all 3 of those days.
The next 2 are screw caps.
Oh, thank God.
Really loves those. Oh, they love them down there. Oh, yeah. Oh, I meant to mention one other thing. This guy only makes 1,000 cases a year. We got 3 of them at the liquor store, which I think is super cool. That's really small production. Really small, like
Well,
tiny.
better put your mask on.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need
It
to go
almost
get the
went
test
down the
kit.
wrong pipe. I was playing with it in my mouth. They only make 1,000 cases
Yeah,
of
can you
of
believe
this
that?
wine.
No, total at the winery.
Total at the winery.
Yeah, they make 4 wines. I would guess, and I could be completely off base here, I would guess that this is the majority of the production, just based off the vineyard area. So the vineyard area for this is 2 hectares. The Vermentina is 0.7. They make a white blend that's 0.3, and then they make a wine like this, but instead of having the Graciano or the Muristello, it has Cabernet, and that's 0.6 hectares. So I'm guessing this is probably the majority of their production, and that would also make sense as to why Kermit Lynch is holding on to some down in Berkeley. But yeah, young vines here too. I think they ripped out and replanted everything because the vines are weird. The longer that they go, the more susceptible to disease they are, the less they produce, and you know, they have a
Just
life.
like men.
Yeah. Very good, Steph. Very good. But yeah,
They must have some pretty nice cellars because they
Yeah.
need to age their wine a bit.
yeah, I was looking. Sometimes they have great pictures, and this one they just have. Oh no, there's a few. Let's see. No, it's just them tasting and their kids in the vineyard and the labels. But the picture, if you go to Kermit Lynch's website, there's a picture. They're like right on some lake. I forget the name. But there's a picture that they have on there. It's like the sun setting over the lake and the vines. It really looks like California. Like it's crazy. Like I wouldn't look at that picture and go, oh yeah, it's an island in the Mediterranean Sea. Like it's pretty crazy.
Makes you want to have a glass of wine in your hand and look out at the sunset, huh?
Yes, it does. It makes me want to take another wine-based vacation. Those are the best.
Soon we will all have vacations coming at us left and right.
Yes.
Yes.
And hopefully people have lots of vacations to Jackson this summer as well.
Yeah.
So they can
Right.
drink lots of sloshies and wine.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a real tasting.
That's right. All right, gang. We're going to see you guys on Wednesday.
Yeah. Remember everybody out there in internet land.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you all
coming
for
up.
joining. Good work, Evan.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, guys.
Salute, or whatever the Italian version is.
You-
Oh, yeah. I don't even
yeah.